That
Hello.
everybody is you guys. I don't actually,
Oh.
it's not.
Oh, it's us.
I'm not
Oh,
referring to
sorry.
the audience. I'm referring to
Oh,
you,
I didn't
my
want to assume
colleagues.
that.
Also, hello, audience. How are you? So right off the bat, Mark has asked me to inform everybody that this is going to be a shorter stream because A, we have work to do, and B, we gave you everything last time. But what we didn't do is do community highlights, so there's going to be big community highlights. But the dev branch is done. The war's kind of in its test phase. Mark, give us an update.
Yeah, so the dev branch is closed. The test release went out successfully yesterday. So for those of you who are new, we usually test the big updates, if possible, up to 2 days in advance. In the future, I'd like to see that extend further. Just the reason why this happens is just so we can shake out any last minute bugs in the real live environment. And most like MMO or online type games, you see this happen. That's why when World of Warcraft launches a big expansion, they sort of patch it like the week before, but they just don't have the new content in yet. And then they let that work in live environment for a week. So for us, we're doing something similar. So we launched the test release yesterday, and we're having it go have it run all the way up until the full release. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST is when the war starts, and that's when also shortly before that the final patch will be deployed with a couple of changes, many bug fixes, and so all these last minute tweaks. So we're almost at the end of the line. It's just one more day, less than a day from now. The first Winter Army War will start, so I'm really excited.
The shakeup is going to be very real, so it'll be really interesting to see that whole first war and just see that play out with all the new. I mean, basically, like other than vehicles, everything's been totally shaken up. So it's really, really going to be interesting to see.
One of the questions I kept getting, Mark, what is the chances of us, because of us being so busy, what are the chances of us delaying the patch tomorrow?
0. Yeah, it's not gonna. These big updates are a little bit harder because we do set things up to launch on a specific day, so we can make sure that everybody knows about it and they can plan for it. And so we expect a lot of players. And yeah, it's gonna. I mean, short of a catastrophe, it's gonna go out tomorrow. So I wouldn't worry about it being pushed. I mean, as always, it wouldn't be us if the war didn't start a couple of minutes late. So I would expect that, but the update's gonna go out. So
very, very cool. Well, let's get rolling. Last time we did not have community highlights. HB,
oops, there you go.
Take us through it.
well, I am unfortunate to say that Julian is not joining us for this community highlights because I think he would actually appreciate it very much. But he's on an important secret mission, and he's gonna come back someday. God knows when. Yeah. So we have today a lot to talk about, and I think it was really interesting because Max was able to really pick up some the cream of the crop of all the stuff that was done. I don't think there's any piece of art in this community highlights that is not absolutely amazing. Literally impressive, the quality. So let's start with Rickery and Sarcastic because these are so good. I always stated that I loved when players put their own characters, like the OC, on Foxhole, inside the Foxhole theme. And both of these depict wardens in slightly different manners, but in very, very personal ways. I love the painterly style of Sarcastic. I think it's amazing the work that it was done on the costume and on the background. Just really, really well done, really well thought out. It's kind of a different take on the weaponry and the armaments that somebody would take. And Rickery, on the other hand, it's a more, I would say, realistic for the game. but like the small details, like having your tags on your tanks and things like that, I think there's the kind of stuff that if we ever reach that, and I think we're slowly getting closer with having the new regiments. I think that's a way to inject more of your personal group of friends into the game. Who knows where that feature eventually is going to go? Hopefully to some interesting places.
You're talking
But yeah.
about regiment uniforms
Yeah.
or something. Right?
Yeah, or even like having a regiment tank, like something that you tag with your
like a logo.
Yeah, it's not 100% out of possibility. It's not something we're working on or anything like that, but it's something that like maybe post 1.0, it is something that we always thought could be potentially like an idea to explore if we have the time, if we have the manpower. But I like that because I like that it injects humanity into the game. Like our characters are like all similar characters. The only difference is skin color and if it's male or female. Other than that, they're like all the same. And people still are able to inject their own personality into their characters. And I think illustrations like these, particularly the one Rickery, really portray that. And I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Next one? Yeah. So, I don't know what's up with the Colonials having white hair, but this is not the first time that all the female Colonials have white hair. I think it just they think it fits the aesthetics. I don't know what it is.
I think it's Morgan's character.
Maybe like that one character always has white hair, but I've seen other Colonials with like extremely pale blonde or like just straight up white hair. Morgan doing an amazing job as per usual. Again, considering that I like character, I particularly like the illustration on the right side, the one with the rifle. It's a lot of energy, a lot of like really good posing, really good silhouette. And Genaza, I think it's kind of like the same way, in the sense that like you can see the mood lighting of it, and like the character is in a bunker base, and like with the new RPG, which is really cool. I love to see like the new tech that we are adding incorporated into the illustrations. I think that's really cool because that's something that it's brand new. That's fantastic.
I just have to shout out the Versace guy who said Morgan cross sun chips.
What sorry, what?
Morgan cross sun chips. Never mind. If anybody doesn't keep going.
Is that going to be like a fan fiction?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's made me laugh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really good. I don't know what to say. Like I like to see the female soldiers portrayed, because most of the time you see a lot of male soldiers, and people always ask us for some reasons like, hey, when are you gonna put female characters in the game? Which they have been in the game for the past 3 years at least. You can change the appearance of your character to be female, and so I always like to see. Next one, Mark. Oh, these are awesome.
Cool, yeah.
These are so cool. So the first one is the one that first was Helping Hands, actually. I don't know where he got it. Like he ordered. I don't know if he got it custom made, but he ordered like a onesie style. It's not a onesie because like it has pants, but kind of like a hoodie with pants. I don't know if it's custom made. I don't know if he just found an Etsy shop that is similar, but Helping Hands now has a streaming outfit, which I think is just absolutely fantastic, and it's Warden style. And of course, Irogerm has made made his own cosplay of a Warden medic, which, I mean, the only thing that he got wrong is that we don't use the red crosses, we use the green crosses, because red cross is actually trademarked and incorporated, and we cannot use it.
I'm sure it's much easier to get a red cross.
But it's much easier to get a red cross, yes. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic cosplay. I loved, and he, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, he is wearing the pin, the enamel pin that we had on our store. I don't know if we still have them leftovers, but
I actually
we had them.
lost mine, and I'm so upset about it. I don't know what happened.
I'm not giving you mine.
They're really cool pins, though.
No, it's and Partisan here is saying he's going to cosplay as a Warden made uniform. I would love to see a Warden made uniform. How does it fit in the Foxhole scenario? It would be fantastic. But yeah, no, I love the fact that like this is like original cosplay from head to toe. Being able to find like a full, I don't know if he made it. He might have done it, like made his own like Warden jacket. It's really, really well done. So congratulations for Idle Germ. Really cool cosplays. Oh, now we're getting into the more I don't know, fantastic fantasy side of Foxhole. I don't know to say.
It's kind of like Warhammer meets Foxhole.
Yeah, I mean Superior has been doing that character for a while now. I don't know what's the name of the character, because obviously there's like this is a very particular character. I don't know if he's a general, a major, or can't see. But
there was a brief reference to Amothic. Amothic? I don't know if that's a real person. I think it is a real player.
Amothic is a player, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so maybe it's his favorite friend.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Very
really,
special
really cool.
friend.
Extremely well painted. Like don't get me wrong, like doing drapery and clothing, like just on the technical aspect of it, is not an easy thing to do, and I think he absolutely Superior like has always like considered like upping his game. But I think that the quality of the drapery and on the coat is just fantastic. Really like the shoulders.
There's a lot of different textures going on, and they're all like really easily readable, and that's like one of the hardest things to do in like a
you can see the metal shyness. Yeah, really well done on the head.
So
but then again,
the middle one, I think that's based on an actual like photo. I'm pretty sure that looks like a reference image that we gathered a long time ago, actually, for the Wardens.
Yeah.
So I think this is like adapted from a real photo.
Yeah, but it's there's definitely a paint job on top of it to make it like a Warden, which I think which looks amazing. It looks really, really good. Like the guy in the middle looks kind of like a friend of mine, which is really throwing me off a lot. Like it's kind of weird.
He looks like my tattoo artist, actually.
Oh, really?
Very weird.
Yeah, I really like I like the paint job. I think it's like it fits, you know. Like the way he blended the face, because again, originally, if this is originally a photo, which I think it might be, the way he blended in with the actual painting of the colonial outfit and the helmet looks really, really well. And of course, we have Thea Mauro, which is a real character in the Foxhole lore, but we haven't actually ever showcased.
I don't think we've depicted her in any way.
Any depiction.
I think Julian did one quick drawing, but it wasn't like done for anything. So I will say I think this is probably like one of the closest ones in my head that I've seen. To be honest, based on what like Julian and Adam and I have talked about.
Did you do a description of her physical appearance, or at least the way she's dressed on any of the lore? I don't think so, right?
No.
So I always find it interesting the way people portray the different characters from the lore. I think we should add more named characters in the lore, because I just like seeing the different depictions.
There's actually quite a lot, but the reason we get a lot of Callahan and Thea Mauro is because they're like leaders.
For sure.
You get it's it's like it's
like,
people
like
really
Luke
like
Skywalker
leaders.
and like the Darth Vaders of
Yeah, you're gonna get the most of them, but we have to make the other ones more prominent now, because I want to see more of them. This is really good.
Something I want to mention is that now that we have the faction specific weapon system in, man, I want to see swords.
Yes.
Yeah, that would
look at
really
that. Like
cool.
all of these have swords in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right?
People really like
makes
themselves a sword, I guess.
Well, it also makes sense because when you have like leaders, even if it's a ceremonial sword nowadays, like people still wear them when you're a certain pattern, right? Maybe not on battlefield, but on a ceremonial event, you would see people still wearing swords. So it makes sense to add in. I don't think that I've said this before, and I vehemently believe that not every weapon and vehicle has to be 100% functional, in the sense that it has to like be 100% like, oh, it has to be completely on balance with everything else. I don't think anything can be like too OP, but it's okay to have things that are like not as useful, but as long as they add to the richness of the environment that you're creating. And I think swords might fall into that, because I don't know if they would be better on a combat than a bayonet or just a simple like knife, but they would be really interesting to have.
Think about like a sword SMG combo though. Like a bayonet's great when you got a rifle, but anyway.
Yeah, you throw them
Shotgun
away.
bayonet.
Yeah, you hold one. That I don't think that works.
Shotgun sword.
Gunblades. What we're
Gunblade.
talking are
You
gunblades.
know what? Let's just get it done. It's not Gunblades coming in 2022.
The red guy, the guy with the red shirt is HB, Anam Glass. That's who I am. Okay, so I really like this stuff. So these ones, Bubba Deej, it's been a while since I've seen stuff from Bubba Deej. I don't know if I haven't been like not paying attention to the community highlights things, which admittedly I have not. I've been very, very focused on the updates and stuff. But man, if there's one thing that Bubba Deej does that is absolutely amazing, is the quality of the perspective and the vehicles and stuff like that. Look at this. Look how perfectly drawn is that tank. Look at how well laid out things are. I think this is not easy to do. A lot of people struggle with perspective. This is working really well, really, really well. So I like the composition. It took like an early concept from Julian, put it in the background, added his own spin, his own character on top. Really well done. I don't mind.
Character would be quite cold.
Yeah, well, yeah, with mid-drift exposed, especially right now with the winter update. Dauntless did a really cool shot there between two tanks fighting each other on the streets. I don't think we have any streets that are this large, which it's just compounds to the intensity of the action. Particularly nice. I like the camo on Dauntless tank, which is something that I know a lot of players have been asking for. More camo.
Cornesca.
Yeah, more camo. Maybe closing the open top with like some fake foliage or something like that. That would be really neat. Again, I love the stuff that just makes the environment more immersive, even if they're not necessarily functional. I don't know how good camo, one patch of camo would be on the very top of a tank, because we don't have aerial bombardment or anything like that. But it looks cool as hell.
Still cool.
Yet.
We don't know if we're ever gonna get an aerial bombardment. Maybe we will. And then of course Genesis. It's kind of like I like Genesis' image because it's very similar to Ricardis, and the first one from Ricardis, that but from the colonial side now, in which original characters by players like introduced into the Foxhole mythos. They have like different trench coats, which makes total sense because now we have rain. And when are we gonna add trench coats because of the rain, Mark?
I don't know. We'll see.
But I like that they are in no man's land. That they are absolutely in a devastated landscape, which you guys can see on the update coming as well.
I do like seeing the reverse version of the Winter Army concept.
I know, right? Like we
cool.
saw one Yeah, from the Wardens, and now this is a Colonial. It's very well done. And of course, Superior, once again, completely blowing us away with a...
Superior, that's 2.
That's... Come on, it's totally worth it.
No, I'm saying that's 2. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
2 big ones, not just 2.
No, and really well done, extremely well executed. And a tableau like this is not easy to do. It takes a lot of planning. Like each character has his own pose and trying to fit in with there's like small areas. I love this area on the left here in which you have like the wardens on top of a semi-destructed bunker, because it mirrors the ones on the right, on the semi-destruction bunkers on the right of the Colonials, and like they are perfectly well composed. You can see the silhouettes, you can see the actions, you can see the intensity of the battle. Small details that I particularly love is having, for instance, one Colonial soldier wearing a gas mask, which is usually for some reason depicted only for the Wardens. So I love seeing that. I really like seeing the Colonials having as much exposure as the Wardens, because for some reason we get more Warden community stuff. Maybe because of their larger clans in general, not all of them. But I really like when people expand on the Colonial side as well. I
also really like about this the different like clan flags flying. It reminds me of because this is something that like likely wouldn't be like World War II adjacent or World War I adjacent. Like you wouldn't have these different flags. It'd be a singular like united flag. So this reminds me a little bit more of like Game of Thrones, which is kind of like, you know, it's a vibe that we were going for. So I really like seeing all these different flags like flying in this battle scene. It's almost like a mixture of like medieval combat and like World War I, World War II combat, which is strange and cool.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that was one of my favorite things about this. Like when you zoom into those helmets, you can actually see a lot of the clan names are like written on the Colonial helmets. You can see like one CMD written on there. You guys might not see it in the quality of the stream, but I love that. I love how it's like, it's not just a depiction of our game, but it's a depiction of the community at the time in our game.
It's fantastic. My hat is off for Superior once again, because it's not easy. Again, different weapons, different, like even the small details. Like look at the very bottom right guy, the very bottom right Colonial. He's not aiming like sideways. He's aiming like down. Same as the Wardens. Like, so there's obviously like more intensity of things happening that are closer to each other, closer to the camera. So there's always like so many like small scenes happening on a tableau like this. Really, really cool. I really hope that one day we manage to like get this amount of variety. You guys know I'm all for player created content. Having flags flying on the battlefield is something that we maybe consider eventually.
I really like can you go back, Mark?
Oh, yeah.
So like one thing I want to mention is there's like a lot of attention to detail just in general. There's these houses over here, which I don't think anybody can see because my mouse doesn't show up. There's houses like in the background on the left and kind of in the middle. There's an observation tower that is Colonial captured that you can see.
And there is in the very back there, you see on the right, the ship.
There's a landing ship. There's just lots of like, you know, small little details in this that I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, no, really well done. Congratulations, Superior. Once again, and congratulations to everybody that showed up in this community highlights, because we haven't done a community highlights for a long time. So if you manage to squeeze in on this short post, it really means that you guys did an amazing job, because there were way more amazing artworks that were done by our community on the past, I guess, month, almost 2 months. And you'll see more of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Max, but the community highlights blog post is still coming this week. Is that correct?
No.
No,
unfortunately, I'm way too busy.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
So it's fine. We will do a blog post eventually when we can, because there's a lot of the community stuff that you guys are. If you guys are not in the Discord. If you're not on the community highlights Discord, in Discord on the channel, you guys will get to see. But there's so many good art being done all the time, and people discuss like, they put work in progress and everything. And you should definitely check it out if you are interested on the stuff that they do. And it's not just images. People do radio shows. People do write stories. We are just showcasing like a handful of the amazing stuff that our community do. And if you have any interest in it, send it to us. We love seeing this stuff. We usually are able to make a community highlights blog post that has way more, and this is just like a snippet, like just a preview. Unfortunately, Max, with good reason, is very, very busy. So you might not see a blog post for a while, but there is a lot of stuff that the community does. And if you tag us, if you send it to us, we always share among us ourselves. We try to showcase some of it on the dev streams. We try to showcase them even on the Discord server as well. But there's a lot of cool stuff. We do see all of it. I am a fanatic about this kind of stuff. So thank you very much for all the amazing contributions that you have done for the community. Because as you can see, we also sometimes even take ideas out of them. Because if something really looks cool, like you look at an image, you're like, oh man, this is so cool. Then we also cannot help but think, can we do this in game? And then sometimes we can. Hopefully we'll get there. So thank you for everybody. I think we're gonna go for the development update now.
Great.
Take it away, Mark.
Cool. This is gonna be far shorter than last time, so we should be able to run through this pretty quickly. As I mentioned, we're quite busy today. The first thing I want to do was talk a little bit about the roadmap. So the only thing I really wanted to mention here was, obviously we've been talking a long time about Foxhole 1.0 coming this summer, and I say this every time, but I'm going to continue to say it every time, is that 1.0 is not going to be some sort of major like inflection point for the game. It's not going to be like, okay, now 1.0, everything we want to do is there. It's not. It's going to be like Winter Army, right? It's going to be just like another update. And I think the only real difference is that we're trying to get to the point where we're not changing the fundamentals of the game, or big fundamental things as frequently after 1.0 happens. But this is a process, again, it's not some point. This is a process that's already been happening. Like in the early days, like 2-3 years ago, when we launched the game in early access, we'd be like making wild changes. And a lot of times they were changes that maybe we went too far. Maybe they just changed like the game so much. But I think that we've slowly, over the last year, have been trying not to necessarily make those changes as frequently. If we have to make them, we're going to make them, of course. And even after 1.0, we're going to make them. But we've been trying to slow that down a bit. And this has been a gradual process. And when we get to 1.0, again, it's not going to be like an inflection point. It's going to be just, another gradual change along a long journey. And then we're going to have a winter update next year, right? So just kind of really wanted to harp on that more and continue to harp on it. That like, if you guys have some sort of list of like, oh, these are all the things that hope's going to be done, it's like, it's probably not. Just be perfectly honest. I think that we hope to get to all those things on the list, and hopefully we'll get to some of it, and then some of it we'll get to in the fall, and some we'll get to in the winter, some we'll get in 2022, right? And I think that's just really wanted to be as upfront about that as possible, right? It's just going to be a continuum of change, and we're going to be working on Foxhole for many years to come. So just wanted to discuss that. So now getting back to Winter Army. So one of the things I want to talk about was how excited I was about the dev branch this time, because I felt that more than ever, it was a hugely collaborative process between us and the community. We haven't, probably in the history of the game, we haven't spent as much time as this update in poring over all the feedback. We sat down and we literally read everything that was put into the dev branch feedback channel, and we read it, we scrutinized it. We discussed whether something should be actioned. And I was really happy because it turned it made the update so much better. There were certain things with some of the features that we weren't really settled on, and going into that branch, and we felt we were worried, and kind of the feedback that you guys gave us helped us in making the final design decisions there, and helped us guide the update into the right place. And the first thing there is probably one of the bigger things is with the snowstorm mechanics. A lot of people were mentioning how it was frustrating to be driving a vehicle and suddenly it freezes, and we kind of shared that concern too. And we did a whole bunch of driving around ourselves, just trying to simulate what a supply line might actually feel like. And after hearing all that feedback, we decided to change the mechanic. Um, we did it in two stages. First, we added a bonus to petrol, but then we actually ended up changing that and settled on making it such that vehicles won't freeze when their engine is on, right? So if a vehicle has fuel and you're sitting in the driver's seat and the engine's on, it will no longer freeze, right? So I'm really happy with that change, and I think it'll start snowstorms off on the right foot. The second thing here is a pretty big one that this is something that we haven't talked about yet, but it will be included in the full release. And maybe Max, you can talk a little bit about this second change here.
Yeah, so this was a problem that we knew was going to come up when we first started balancing artillery, but we decided our best to work around the problem using balancing tools. So things like the damage you guys might have seen. A lot of you guys' feedback came back that artillery was too weak, and which was really confusing to us at first because we were trying to understand like the damages, the numbers we'd set were fairly high, and what we uncovered was exactly what we had suspected, which is that the repair meta was basically overcoming artillery. And for those who aren't aware, what we mean by that is when artillery is raining down on a target, players will naturally gather as many BMATs as they can and repair the structure that's under attack as it's being attacked. And the repair oftentimes outweighed the amount of damage that was being done. This was not an easy thing. We didn't want to just remove this as a mechanic because unfortunately it does a lot of balance is based around this particular area of the game with repairing things. And we didn't want to remove the tactile feeling of being able to repair structures. So what we ended up with is this new system where the more damaged things become by artillery, the more damage they will receive. And what we expect this to do is not to completely remove a repair meta. We still strongly suspect players will continue to gather BMATs from their town halls and repair the structures while they're under fire. But what we're hoping to do is to give those people who are attacking a sense of progression. That even if you are not destroying the structures, that you are doing some permanent alteration to the world, which is a big theme of the Winter Update. So if you are shelling a town, even if you haven't managed to completely flatten a building, you may have permanently damaged its structural base such that the next time this building comes under attack, it will be more vulnerable to not just artillery fire, but to tank fire and other small arms weapons. So we're hopeful that this change will help mitigate the repair meta a little bit, but we're really excited about the change, and we're excited because I think it will also create some situations where the no man's land will feel a little bit more like a no man's land, feeling like you don't necessarily want to build in unsteady ground, being able to build on blasted heaths, and
to just be a bit more concise there, even though the outcome is that the more you hit a structure sitting in no man's land, the more damage it will receive over a long-term bombardment. It's actually tied. It's actually tied to the actual land, right? So it's like the more like devastated the land is, it will start to receive more damage. So if you come and you build something new there, it's also going to be impacted in the same way. And I like this, Max, because our goal from the very start, just even if we were to like put aside all the game balance, put aside all like the nitty gritty details of that, one of our big goals is we wanted you to be able to sit there and to sit there and do a bombardment that lasted for hours if you wanted to, and we always wanted you to feel like you were making some progress with it. And with the repair meta, your progress would just be outside of the rune structures, which was the only real permanent damage you were making. You know, just doing it outside of town environment, you weren't getting that steady progress. So now this kind of like fulfills that goal of you always being able to make an impact. Um, yeah. So
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the whole 82DK clan and everybody else who was helping them on that test last Saturday. Um, if you guys haven't seen the Reddit post, it is a long, really well formatted Reddit post with like 10 videos of their bombardments, which they had 30, 40 people helping out with, both repairing and shelling, which was really, really helpful for finding the numbers and seeing like what the effect is that we want, and that we weren't achieving it with the numbers that we'd plugged in. So thank you guys very much for that, for taking the time to set that up.
yeah. So if you ever want to give us feedback on balance, you need to do it that way. Is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, this kind of change is exactly the result of that kind of testing. So thanks a lot, guys, for those videos.
The next thing on the list here is squad claimable artillery and ammo rooms. We got a lot of feedback from players saying that, hey, look, like artillery is basically the cost of like a battle tank, and a battle tank can, like you don't want to just leave a battle tank out there in the middle of nowhere. Um, so like we decided to add squad locks to them, but the squad locks are done in such a way where it doesn't prevent other people from using. At least in the case of the artillery, you can squad claim it. It just prevents someone from relocating it. So if you leave artillery out there, if there's an artillery base and like the enemy's attacking and the public players, basically anyone can still use it, but they just can't package it, right? And with the ammunition rooms, it's kind of similar, but in this case, only players that have built the actual room is allowed to claim it. So it's up to the builder of the room really to determine whether this is going to be a squad claimed um, stockpile or a public one, and a random player can't just run by and say, hey, I want to claim it, right? And really what all this is leading to is another one of those really big goals we had at the beginning is we want players to be able to have the fantasy of building out a full-fledged artillery base and like spending their time on that. um, Next one is the fire pit. This is a small one, but players reported a lot of usability issues with it, so we changed the way it works. It no longer has a UI, and it's just a lot more tactile, and it doesn't really interfere with any of the structures around it. So we were able to reduce a lot of the frustration there. And this is a huge bullet point that I'm not going to get too far into, but we spent so much time on this. Just like we basically read to like dozens and dozens of posts, probably 100, if I have to be honest. And it took forever time, but what it really helped us with is when we're dealing with a data set that is so large, we do our best with the starting balance, but ultimately there's some things that we don't see. So I think a lot came from that, and we made a lot of balance changes, and we're very happy with where that ended up at the end. And we also, besides that, there was over 100 bug fixes since we launched into the dev branch. So thanks for reporting all those bugs. It's going to make the release a lot more solid. And then just moving on, a couple of things that did get into the update that we didn't talk about, and these were just like smaller things. Things aren't necessarily the big flashy type of features. But first of all, on that list is the mute all enemy team members. This is something that players have asked for in the last couple of months. I know some streamers were having issues of the enemy not being able to mute the enemy team, and the enemy team player might say something that wasn't appropriate for their stream, which is very bad. So we made sure to take the time to put in that option now. So if you want, you can mute all enemy team members, and this is for voice. To be clear, this next one here is also another one of those like little quality of life things that have frustrated players. I've gotten messages about it in the past, and it did take quite a while. And the reason why it took a while is because we had to we had to refactor some of our backend systems to make this happen. And when we came around to do the regiment system, strangely enough, we had to do that refactor to support regiments, but also to fix this issue. So we were able to kill two birds with one stone. And what this means now, what this translates into is if a squad comes and claims a vehicle, and then they disband that squad. Before it would just be squad locked forever, but now the squad lock will be cleared, right? So I think this is and the same with the storm cannon. So we're really happy to finally get that in. And this small little thing here with the left click to submit the large items, it's just the low quality of life when you're submitting a wounded soldier or storm cannon ammo or artillery ammo. Now you can simply hit a key and it submits. And there's a bunch of other bug fixes that we knocked off that I won't get into how, but these are the small things that we tend to not mention them usually. And you guys think, hey, you don't ever take care of the small things, just work on the big features. So I think, I just want to make an effort to talk about those just as much as the big features. So, and that's it. We will, the big war starts tomorrow at 12 Eastern time. So yeah.
Geez, when you put it like that, it sounds like it's coming really soon.
like
24 hours.
Like tomorrow.
Yeah. I think we
wait a
probably
second.
have time for just... Actually, what time is it, Matt? I don't have my...
It's 2:50.
It's 2:50. We'll ask a couple
maybe
questions.
like three very short questions.
Yeah, ask some good questions so I don't have to sift through bad questions.
Good luck.
What are you guys looking forward to? Just off the topic, while we're making stuff. What are you guys looking forward to most about this new update?
Weather. I like the idea of weather.
That seems like a weird... It's like an impossible question to answer.
Yeah, that's why I asked it.
Because if you answer one thing, it's almost like indicative that you're not excited about something else. So
I really like the rain, though. I like the rain more than I like the snow, to be honest. I like the look of it, though, when you are walking around.
There's a funny bug. I'll just say it right here. There's a funny bug that I have to fix with the rain. I'll see if you guys can figure out what it is.
So I'm going to try to be all fancy and like unique. But I like the regiment system a lot because the way that it's done, the way that we refactor like our backend allows really cool things to happen. Like if you notice when someone joins your regiment, everyone in the regiment is notified. It'll say such and such has joined, such and such, right? And if someone leaves, everyone also sees that. And that's a result of the refactor. And I think it's really cool because that sort of like responsive feedback for a system like that is something we usually don't have in Foxhole. So it's just one of those small little details that is inevitably no one's gonna make a big deal out of it. But to me, it was a big deal because I know it was a lot of work to get that done, right? So
I like the idea of regiments for what it can be. I think that it's a fantastic first step. I think that having the regiments and having people be able to have regiments that are permanent and like continuing throughout, like just a permanent thing that stays in the game throughout wars and with your friends, even when you're offline. I think that opens a well of possibilities of other things that built on top of that. I think that's really fantastic, to be honest.
Hey, actually, remember that I told I Saw a Bear that we were going to end this before 3 because I think his video was going to premiere. So
okay.
Maybe we'll take one or two quick questions.
Sure. Teddy asks, they're curious why the Tripod Edge HMD was unable to make the update, and if you could give any insight as to when it might appear.
Yeah, so that one didn't make the update because the technical side was a bit... it is more challenging than some of the other weapons, and we'd have to make really specialized logic for it. And it was on the list to do a spike, but we just simply ran out of time. So I think that I think we'll see it in the coming updates.
Great answer. That guy Admiral asks a question about partisans. Generally, partisans have fundamentally changed. Do we plan to do anything with them in the future? Are we going to remove them? or make them harder to operate. Is there a plan for partisans? Basically,
fundamentally changed from which feature specifically? I guess in
it's
general.
not mentioned, just in general.
Max, do you know what?
Maybe he means the rain, the radio tower coverage.
Oh, I see.
I mean, snow would be pretty debilitating as well.
It's interesting because even for the weather events, it's not going to be like there's going to be snow all the time, right? Like I thought all the feedback was great, but I think it needs to be framed from the standpoint of like this is going to be, especially the really large ones that's really going to make big changes. Are not going to be as often as you think. So someone might think like, oh, snow's coming, no point in like such and such because snow is just gonna slow things down, right? But like, I think the thing that needs to be understood is that that might be like a couple days in a war. Maybe it'll be more than a couple of days, but maybe another war it won't be that frequent, or maybe another war it will be frequent, but it'll be much lower, a milder event, right? And you just kind of I think we'll see. I don't anticipate there's going to be some big sudden change in the way that partisans play, but we'll see, right?
Okay, I'll ask. This question seems to be a hot topic and something people want to know. Do garrison houses recover HP when they are hit, or like over time after they're hit by artillery?
Do they recover HP? Like
I think if I had to guess, this is the way that it's been phrased a lot in a lot of these questions. But if I had to guess, it's also like, does it have that same sort of like system as the other structures? Are they repairable, or will they take more damage as they get hit?
Repairing has not changed. It's just that the foundation, no man's land, causes the foundation on structures to be more weak. So when they get hit by something, like artillery or even tanks or anything else, more damage will be dealt, and it applies to every structure.
Great. All right. Well, we're gonna call it because we got a lot of stuff to do. And go check out I Saw Bear's video when it premieres, which
should be very soon.
It should be very soon.
Put the link in
if there's a link, we should post it.
I did. I already did.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining us. Go check out I Saw Bear's video. I'm gonna post the link again in the chat. I think it's gonna be in 15 minutes. The premiere. I just double checked.
Oh, it's 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we have 15. You guys have 15 minutes. That link is gone. Oh well, then I'll have to check again. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We're gonna see each other again in 2 weeks second Tuesday from now at 2 p.m. EST here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Foxhole Game. And then also join us on Discord, discord.gg/Foxhole. And you can talk to us and you can send us some of the cool things that you're creating regarding to the game. And if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you want to rewatch this stream, it's going to be archived on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Foxhole Game. Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, that's it.
Max, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're gonna give us the outro.
Goodbye.
That's not the outro.
That's the new outro.
Stay watching.
God damn it, Max.
Watching. That's right?
Stay foxy. All right, goodbye, everybody.